early last week, I was kind of talking about how DC has just kind of died in the early parts of 2024. Not even Batman is all that hot. Yeah, there's a couple of titles that aren't doing extremely poorly, but for the most part, DC Comics have kind of fallen off the map when it comes to sales, or at least what we know of sales when it comes to the rankings that ICV2.com and them put out based on Comic Hub. It doesn't look like DC's doing well. And even in the sales that we do know with the book scan and all that kind of stuff, where they're not faring well, even compared to Marvel with graphic novels. You know, DC just isn't very popular right now. And we do know something is coming up. We've been talking about this absolute universe that Scott Snyder is going to be kicking off. As far as I know, it's still going to be Jason Aaron and Al Ewing, but we have not got confirmation on that or any of the details of what it's going to be. But that's what I've been told on that one, and we know it's going to be called, or it's rumored to be called, DC All In, and it looks like they're planning something very, very big in September of 2024, and it looks like it might be coming, or at least a lot of these details might come out actually during San Diego Comic-Con in late July. And we've got lots of little things that really haven't been put together, but once you start looking at this thing as a whole, it appears DC are doing something. I don't know if it's going to be a crisis. I do not believe they want people to think Absolute Power is a crisis level event, that it's going to reset the entire DC Comics universe. But it's clear there's going to be wide sweeping changes that are bigger than just introducing the Absolute universe, or maybe relaunching Justice League with Mark Waid and Dan Moore, which is another big rumor that's out there. That's supposed to be spinning out of the end of Absolute Power, which should be ending up right around August, September timeframe. And now we have some rumors on bigger changes at DC Comics. Bleeding Cool reporting they heard a rumor that DC Comics is changing its logo again. It will be announced at San Diego Comic-Con in late July. Currently, that is intended to be announced during a panel on the show. However, the details are being kept such a secret that few even know what it looks like yet, just that it will still fit within the current DC logo dimensions. So it'll still kind of be squarish, I guess, is the information that they do have regarding the rumor, but nobody knows exactly what it looks like. I have a feeling it's going to be blue, and we will have the letters D and C on it. Other than that, I guess all bets are off. And normally, while I do read up on rumors that are out there, even from Bleeding Cool, I don't always talk about them because a lot of them are bullshit, or they're so early in on the stages that you don't even know what it really means. But once you start putting this together in late July of 2024, with Absolute Power winding down around the August timeframe, August, September, and then some of the other changes that we have out there, it does appear DC realize their image is not very good right now. In fact, it's piss poor with comic book readers, and they're not going to be taking it lying down. What does this mean? Does it mean we're going to have a wholesale change when it comes to the creatives involved with DC Comics? I don't think so. I do not believe all of a sudden they're going to bust out the Rolodex and we're just going to have an army of really, really good comic book writers returning to DC Comics to come and restore the brand and, and pick up the shield and defend DC Comics and their characters from all these bad writers. Like, oh my goodness, go in there and read the Cy Spurrier Flash comic book. I freaking dare you. It is no fun. There is very little fun to be had at DC Comics these days outside of Superman, Green Lantern. I would say Batman Offworld is pretty good. The Batman First Night, I think, is the name of the book by Dan Jurgens. That's pretty good. There's some good stuff here and there, but basically across the board, the quality is really lacking because they just don't have a lot of talent. We've got Kelly Thompson has come in. We've got Tini Howard. We've got Colin Kelly and Jackson Lanzing. We got a whole plethora of just complete jabronis. And every once in a while, Mark Russell returns for a special $7 like freaking mini-series that nobody wanted to read in the first place. So without wholesale changes when it comes to the creative, specifically the writers, that's where they're really lacking. And without maybe going out there and revamping their editorial staff, I don't really see this going anywhere. We also know that they're currently still, as far as I know, looking for a new Batman group editor. Katie Cooper is still filling in for that role. Perhaps they've already hired that person, and they're going to be part of this big rollout. Maybe we even get a title like Batman rebooted back to a #1 issue. They will have gotten through Batman 150 by then and probably extracted as much coin as they can out of you on this very, very lackluster run that's only had a couple of highs and so many lows it's not even funny. But Chip Zdarsky did mention I think when he took over the Batman title that he was going to be on for at least 3 years. I think he's only been there 2 years at this point. So I don't know that that's going to happen, but we do know Dawn of DC is essentially over. This summer, Dawn of DC comes to an end. DC confirmed that the line-wide branding, which debuted in January 2023 and was used to promote relaunches of DC's primary DC Universe titles throughout the subsequent months, will be dropped with the launch of Absolute Power event in July. As I said, Absolute Power July, August, September basically is when that thing's going to wrap up. And we're going to be getting into something else that's been rumored to be called DC All In, which will include the launch of the Absolute Universe, this weird Ultimate style universe that Scott Snyder is going to be overseeing within DC Comics. I've heard what the pitches are, at least the very bare bones of it, and I don't personally find this exciting at all. But I know some people will be excited because they do like Scott Snyder, and if Jason Aaron is in there, maybe he's a big enough name. And for some reason, people still try to convince me that Al Ewing is a good writer, even though I think he's a fluke most of the time, anytime he does anything good. But there are going to be other changes that we do know are going to happen. Ram V will be ending his current run as writer on Detective Comics this September, capping off what will be a 2-year run on the monthly title over 3 acts and 28 issues, which will culminate in what he has described as the metaphorical death and rebirth of DC's Dark Knight. Ram V will be departing Detective Comics following issue number 1089. And when you look at the big scheme of things for DC Comics, you know, you've got Batman, you got Superman, maybe Justice League, Flash, and then somewhere in there is also Detective Comics, the number 2 Batman title. Obviously, we're going to be getting a change there. Ram V is going to be going away. I really remember being excited for Ram V to take over a Batman series. I was like, wow, Ram V's a really good writer. He's not for everything, but it feels like he's right for the Batman character. And then he just kind of squatted. Apparently for 28 issues straight to tell one story. They say it's over 3 acts. Have fun trying to figure that out. The only thing that was really interesting or compelling about the entire thing was the intermezzo, because it's Batman as an opera or whatever. But my goodness, I was wrong on that one. I really thought Ram V would bring something interesting and unique to Batman, but he just brought a sense of boredom to Batman that I don't think will ever be equaled or achieved again. I don't think you can make the Batman character that boring. But when we see Ram V working on Dawn Runner, I think at Dark Horse right now, it's fucking really good. Like, I don't get it, how he can take the most exciting character in the world and not do anything exciting with it, but he takes his own ideas and really runs with them. Maybe he's just not a superhero writer, but there we go. We are getting Detective Comics rebooted. Hopefully Batman, because Chip Zdarsky's run has been bad. The Jorge Jimenez art has made it bearable for the most part, but man, on the lowest of lows, like a Gotham War, like his Batman run has been terrible. They need to get another Batman writer in there as well, but who are they going to bring in? What A-lister or even B-list writer does DC Comics even have access to at this point? Mark Millar's not coming back. We're not going to be getting Scott Snyder on an in-continuity Batman book. James Tynion's not going to be coming back for Batman. There's really nobody left at DC Comics for them to put in a primetime slot. So we might just be stuck with Chip Zdarsky until Donny Cates has been rehabilitated to the point where DC Comics feels comfortable even offering him a position at this point. Other than that, on May 21st, 2024, Nightwing 114 by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo will kick off the groundbreaking 5-part story arc titled Fallen Grayson. This arc also signifies the conclusion of Taylor and Redondo's Nightwing run as they bid farewell to the iconic hero. So also right around the same time frame that we're going to be getting Absolute Universe, that we're going to be getting DC All In, that we're going to be getting a new Detective Comics writer. They're also likely rebooting the Nightwing series. Tom Taylor finally leaving that one. Another just kind of weird run. I had no expectations for Tom Taylor's Nightwing. The first few issues, while they certainly had problems, and I pointed them out, at least it felt like it was going to be kind of good. And another writer that just kind of squatted on the character. He still hasn't fucking defeated Heartless. Like, it's been years at this point. This guy is like ripping the hearts out of the homeless and teenagers and stuff. And Nightwing is so busy erecting statues to Alfred and taking photo ops and getting keys to the city and having people tell him how amazeballs he is. He just hasn't found the time to go and fucking catch this guy. It's the weirdest thing in the world. But another high-profile title ending around that August-September timeframe, right when Absolute Power is going to end and whatever is going to be launching out, that I think is going to be much bigger than really any of us anticipated, because I do think DC realizes if they don't do something now, it might be too late. So we're going to get something different on Nightwing. I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Taylor moves on to another high-profile project. I guess Detective Comics would be in play there, because at least he's kind of a name, and he is also a DC Comics exclusive creator. As far as I know, he's still exclusive. So I imagine they're going to get him something high-profile. I also think The Flash is in play. I certainly heard rumors that Tom Taylor was very, very interested in The Flash when they gave the series to Cy Spurrier, which probably would have been a better idea. You know, he wouldn't have stopped anybody bad, but it wouldn't have been nearly as awful as this Cy Spurrier Flash run has been. My goodness, they made a mistake on that one. Also of note, there are some things happening right there in August of 2024, right when Absolute Power is about to culminate. Batman and Robin, Birds of Prey, Power Girl, The Flash, Green Lantern, War Journal, and JSA all hit 12 issues in August. Many publishers like to relaunch back to number one if the sales aren't good. And right now, sales are only kind of good on Batman and Robin, and certainly none of the other titles. And Jeff Johns already confirmed at Fan Expo Philly he's leaving JSA after 12 issues, and somebody else is going to be taking over for him. I don't know why, for some reason, like issue number 12 is deemed to be satisfactory for a run nowadays. Like, we got to get to 12 issues. We get 3 trades in there and we go a full year, and we don't have to admit we made an enormous mistake putting Cy Spurrier on Flash or putting Leah Williams on Power Girl, or that this Batman and Robin series, despite having some sales, has really become a complete clusterfuck here at the end. But, you know, that's prime number apparently for rebooting, whereas in the past, you know, it was 143. Now it's 12. You know, they've made it a year, so it's probably a good time to reboot a lot of these titles. Hopefully Josh Williamson stays on Superman. Around that time, we should know who the 4th writer is for Superstars of Superman. Maybe that will end up being the new writer on Action Comics, so we'll be getting a new writer on that series as well. And, you know, Power Girl is not sticking around. It has no sales. The Flash, sales have absolutely died on that series since Jeremy Adams left. Green Lantern War Journal is a series that I kind of like, but the sales on that are absolutely trash. And obviously Jeff Johns is doing his own thing on Ghost Machine. You know, I'm hoping, like this, that Robert Venditti is the next JSA writer. He or Jeremy Adams are the only people that I think could do that series any type of justice, but knowing my luck, it'll be Tim Sheridan. Despite that, man, talking all kinds of shit on DC Comics apparently over the past few weeks about how he'd never work for them again. You know, I don't want to see Tom Taylor on Flash, but I think that's probably what we get. Are we going to get a second Green Lantern series? Maybe, maybe not. The only series in here that I see really continuing on, really, I guess, is Birds of Prey from Kelly Thompson. For reasons that I still don't know, Marvel and DC refuse to admit she's not very good. She was even nominated for an Eisner, the Oscars of the comic book world, for Birds of Prey. And I'm like, are you fucking reading the same comic book that I am? That thing is absolute trash. The art sucks, and the story is literally incomprehensible. But apparently, she's a superstar or something, so... There are big things popping in the August-September timeframe for DC Comics. And I do imagine in July 2024 at San Diego Comic-Con, we're going to finally get a lot of the details. They'll likely finally announce Absolute Universe. They'll announce the Mark Waid, Dan Mora Justice League title. They'll start announcing who's the next Detective Comics writer, the next, you know, probably Flash writer, Power Girl, if they decide to continue on with that one. Nightwing, certainly. And we're going to be getting a bevy of changes. But if it's just another stupid shell game where they're moving around the same dumb shit, completely incompetent writers on new titles, like, no, thank you. I've been through this enough already. And unless there's actual change, real change at DC Comics, people are going to see right through this. They're not going to feel anything for DC All In. It's not a good name to begin with. But if it doesn't come with all in type of change with real writers on the characters, no one's going to care. But that's what's brewing. Something enormous is coming in the future of DC Comics, and we will likely see in July. If you would like more coverage on this, DC Comics, Marvel Comics, DC Comics reviews, and you really want to support us over here on Film Critical YouTube, if you go to the Patreon, if you back us there, we give you lots and lots of extra podcasts. Awesome content, awesome conversations, awesome reviews, everything you could ever want surrounding comic books and geek culture, all available there for the people that want to back us, because we want to back you as well. There's a link to the Patreon in the video description.